Welcome to the number one home for personal development. My name is Ken Billions. This is Coin Gang Ministries. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here to do this one more time. If you can see me, press one, and if you can hear me, press two. I want to be clear, and if I'm clear, let me know. I want to be seen, and if I'm seen, let me know. Okay. If you can see me, press one, and if you can hear me, press two. Welcome to the number one home for personal development. My name is Ken Billions. This is Coin Gang Ministries. You are at the right place at the right time. I want to let you know that you are in a safe space. This is ministry for the abstract mind, and it's a safe space for all the men, women, and children, boys and girls that have an out the box philosophy. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to really chop up game, and it feels good to be among the family that come through and that are committed to the spirit of personal development. Because the only improvement is self-improvement. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. If you have babies, please keep your babies close. And if you got someone that's loving on you, someone that's checking for you, please be patient with them and extend them grace. Man, shout out to all my supporters, cash appers, ebook purchasers. Shout out to my members. I want to say shout out to y'all out there for the continued support, because this train does not move if you're not a part of the crew. So, man, I appreciate you. Today we're going to have a important convo. I'm gonna do some little bit of preaching today. I can feel it. So we're gonna have an important conversation today. We're gonna talk about the art of tradition. It's something that I just learned in terms of the structure. Like, you can structure tradition. There's a art to it. We're gonna talk about that because that word is being used. You have modern people born in the 80s and 90s talking about tradition while they live in homes that other people built, and while they shop at grocery stores eating animals that somebody else killed, while they use iPhones and while they use computers. They have this ideal of tradition, and it only applies to one area, and it's a relationship dynamics. But there's an art to tradition, and we're going to discuss that today. We're going to talk about really understanding patriarchy, another word that is used, another word that is thrown around, but nobody really sits with it. They stop at a man being the head of the house. They don't extend it further, like men being over other men. See, because if we really break patriarchy apart and see what it is, it's man versus man. It's a system of man versus man. And if you're not actively engaging against other guys, you begin to engage against women. So now it becomes women versus man, right? So there's people fighting man versus man, and then there's people fighting women versus men. It's two different things, two fronts going on. The one over here where men versus men, they're fighting for control of resources, land. Even so, it's got sophisticated that the war will begin over space real estate. That's man versus man. Man versus woman is who gets the big piece of chicken in the house. Man versus woman is about optics, how the picture looks. Let me be in the front. But true patriarchy is man versus man, right? If I beat you in the war, I get to erase your name from history and replace your name with our name. And no one that will ever remember you were here. That's man versus man patriarchy. We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about, but the white man do it too. That's super popular, but the white man do it too, right? Whatever a person is doing, but the white man do it too. But that's only applied to certain areas, though, because the white man technically does a lot, but that's not where that term is applied. It's usually applied to games and play, and when people don't want to take accountability for their actions and their behavior, they say, but the white man does it too, right? And we're going to get into that. And we're going to talk about winner takes all. Before we get into our actual build, shout out to Jordan. I appreciate you. Shout out to you for the super chat. Shout out to the lovely Ashley, who always comes through and shows the family love. She is always Johnny on the spot. I appreciate your contribution, beloved. Rising Sun on the check-in. Salute to you. I got a great conversation. Make sure you share it. Stick around if you can. If you can't, come back, watch the replay. Our build today is Another Man's Patriarchy. History of the real passport bros. See, because the people that you're calling passport bros, those aren't actually the real passport bros. The real passport bro applies pressure. The real passport bro makes people speak their language. The real passport bro, he's able to put his culture on another group of people and have those people practice his culture. That's what the real passport bro does. The real passport bro leaves where he's from and converts everybody else into his religion. That's what the real passport bros, right? The real passport bro is the reason why you see the world the way you do. Why your last name is Williams, Johnson, why your name is Hector and Jorge, why your name is Maria. You know, why the whole continent of Brazil speaks Portuguese. That's because of the real passport bros, right? Why people speak Spanish. That's the real passport bros. Why we speak English. That's because of the real, true passport bros. You see, the real passport bros don't go around the world looking for women. The real passport bros take land, and the land that they take comes with women. There's a difference. There's a difference. The real passport bro does not travel to look for women. The real passport bro traveled the world, mapping the world, renaming the world, putting the world, terraforming it, okay? Renaming it, reshaping it, looking for resources. They took the land, and the women came with the land, right? The baby passport bro looks for the women, but no land comes with it. Nothing else comes with it. And the real passport bro don't mind that, right? Because as the game is changing, the real passport bro is now going to go to space and keep it pushing, right? So they extend their passport to a universal passport or a galactic passport. Shout out to you, fam. Peace. Appreciate your contribution, right? So, optics matter. Optics is the aspects of an action, policy, or decision that relate to public perception. Now, this build is really going to be about perception because this passport movement is not new. But the problem is the person that's the face of the passport movement has a global perception about himself. And he thinks it's one thing, but it's actually another. See, he thinks that his global perception is that he's desired by the women or the people. But there's a perception about this new passport, bro, that has been on the books for hundreds of years, and it's never been corrected. And those perceptions about this new face are on the book. So remember, this is dealing with a lot of optics and perception. Optics is the aspects of an action, policy, or decision that relates to the public perceptions. Okay? So these passport boys These new ones, there is a global perception, and it's not what they say it is. See, the global perception of the new passport boys is actually baked in academia. It's baked in the universities. It's baked in the libraries and in the law. The perception of these new passport boys is baked into the system. It's taught to children, this perception. Huh. The new passport boys' perception was shaped hundreds of years ago with different sciences. Okay? Let me introduce you to a man named Franz Joseph Gall. He's an important person in shaping these passport boys' public perception. See, he matters. He dealt with a science that is really, really, really important in academia. We might not deal with it, but they do. His name is Franz Joseph Gall. He said, "The object of my research is the brain. The cranium is only a faithful cast of external surface of the brain and is consequently but a major part of the principal object." Let me help you with that. See, Mr. Gall dealt with a science called phrenology. Okay? Phrenology. Phrenology was a faculty psychology, theory of brain and science, and of character reading, what the 19th century phrenologists called the only true science of mind. Phrenology was derived from the theories of idiosyncratic Viennese physician Francis Joseph Gall. Here is Francis Joseph Gall. Now, phrenology is very important. See, the new passport boy doesn't understand that they have a reputation that is baked into academia, right? And it's never been corrected. Okay? So, when these passport boys behave the way they do, the world is actually never surprised. Why? Why is nobody surprised about the behavior and the optics of the modern passport boy? Because the perception and the reputation is already baked into academia, the system, right? The structure of the social classes, okay? Huh. Joseph Gall had the basic tenets of Joseph Gall has 6 basic tenets of phrenology. It goes as this: the brain is the organ of the mind. That's 1. 2. The mind is composed of multiple distinct innate faculties. That's 3. Because they are distinct, each faculty must have a separate seat or organ in the brain. Okay. 4. The size of the organ, other things being equal, is a measure of its power. 5. The shape of the brain is determined by the development of the various organs. And 6, lastly, the skull takes its shape from the brain. The surface of the skull can be read as an accurate index of psychological aptitudes and tendencies. Okay, so let's break that or shorten that. Franz Joseph Gall based behavior on the shape of skulls. Now, they begin to study the Negro skull, and based off their science, they would come up with a certain pattern of behavior for the Negro. Remember, this is about aptitudes and tendencies. Academics was used to support the condition of people that was classified as black. See, what people don't understand is there is science baked into black. Phrenology is one of them. Do you know they used to judge your quote unquote ancestors because of the shape of their skull? And the size of the skull, according to them, would determine their intelligence level. That was then, right? Franz Joseph Gall was born in 1758. So this is very old. Fast forward to today. When the world is looking at the passport bro move around and make these videos and make this content, the world is not surprised because they're looking at the skull of the person. Because it's based on aptitude and tendencies. Right? This is called phrenology. So while you're thinking the world wants to be like you are only talking about when we have fun. See, that's fun, right? That's a moment in time. See, we tend to be stuck in that space of having fun all the time, a playful spirit all the time. And you misinterpret that and you think people actually want to be like you in the culture, but they don't, though. When they begin to copy certain cultural aspects from you, why do they begin to go downhill? Phrenology was based on the shape of your skull and they determine your intelligence level. Now, this is on the books, right? So the passport boy represents a certain skull. So nobody is surprised about these images or the character. No one is surprised because this is baked into academia. They might not teach it on TV, they might not talk about it, but those who know. The psychologists and sociologists and the people with extensive libraries and the people that create laws, see, they are aware of American history. They're not like you, right? They're scholars and their philosophers, they studied them, right? Their thing is not about who's relevant. That's your thing, right? Who's relevant? Okay, but those that run the world and that create how you and I live, they're it's quiet. Power is quiet. You focus on who's relevant. You focused on who's popular, right? But the things concerning the so-called Negro is on the books. It ain't relevant, but it stands. And you behave like the picture that they created, so nobody is surprised. There is no expectation. When we see images on TV of melanated people acting a certain type of way, why is no one ever surprised? How come no one says, I'm so ashamed of you? Right? How come no one ever says, you're better than this? Well, based on the foundation that was laid before you or I was born, right? I guess we do have an expectation, and it's to act in the way that the perception says, right? Right? Huh. Okay. Phrenology. Gall believed that the brain was made up of 27 individual organs that determined personality. The first 19 of these organs he believed to exist in animal species. Enlargement of the skull indicated an extensive use of the particular organ that resided beneath the skull. So let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Introduce you to some people, right, that are not relevant, but that matter. Josiah Knott, American surgeon and anthropologist. He was born in 1804. He claimed, this is his claim, that the Negro achieves his greatest perfection, physical and moral, and also greatest longevity in a state of slavery. Okay, let me say that again. Josiah Knott, a physician, claimed that the Negro achieves his greatest perfection, physical and moral, and also greatest longevity in a state of slavery. Right? He was also into phrenology, like Franz Joseph Gall. Okay? Josiah Knott wrote a book called Types of Mankind. See, yo, you may not know what you're doing when you're running around and you're behaving the way you do. And you put that camera on you and you display every single thing except intelligence. You dance around, you prank, you're always joking, you're always cussing, you are never pushing the envelope in thought, but you don't realize that you are only behaving in a way that academia says you will. Do you know what's on the books about you? Passport, bro? See, this is not just in America. This is in Central America and South America too. Western culture or Western civilization looks at you like this because of academia. It doesn't matter if you go to Australia. It doesn't matter if you go to Colombia. That's all Western culture. Why do you think Brazil is not the West? The Brazil was conquered by the Portuguese. That's the West. The Spanish went through Colombia. That's the West. You're bugging. And in the West, this is the type of things that was written about you. Now, this man was born in 1804. All of this literature was very popular. This shaped the way people treated you, types of mankind. This is his book. And in this book, he deals with doctrine of zoological provinces. Said it right, right? Or doctrine of zoology provinces. Now look at my screen, okay? Because we're going to go into a subject or a topic that is very important, especially the conversations that were going on about the Negro in 17th and 18th centuries, okay? Doctrine of zoology provinces. This is basically about each race being suited to its own province and was superior with its own province. Okay? So they're saying there's a type of man for that province and a type of animal for that province. And each person would come from that area. Now, that was a different ideology because it was pushing back against the biblical narrative, which was monogenism, saying that we all have a common ancestor. What these people begin to do when they implemented scientific racism, and this has everything to do with the passport, bro, right? So when they're pushing back on the biblical narrative of monogenism, they're coming through with polygenism, okay? And with polygenism, it says that each race has its own origin story and it doesn't come from the Adam and Eve story. This is what they were pushing back on. This is what this is about right here. This is important because people in these universities were creating these schools of thought and you didn't have no say so about it. See, this is the thing. When you are running around the world with your passport, if you are not leading with your intelligence, you are automatically putting yourself under the umbrella of what's already baked into academia and what people think about you. It's piles and piles and piles of literature, right? I have it. Of literature that questions if you're even a man or something else, right? Remember, you are in another people's society, right? Because you lost the war. So whatever is written about you in that society, whatever narratives and movies, whatever folklores, whatever gossip that is said about you, it sticks because they are, quote, the dominant culture. But see, you don't know what's written about you. Because if you knew what was written about you, you would not look how you look on camera. Mhm. So, monogenism was the ideal that we all come and descend from a common ancestor, and then they come through with polygenism, saying that the white race is totally separate, it's its own, and the black race and everything in the middle was the origins of those races and animals and species are totally independent from each other. Why does that matter? Because the psychology and the scientific racism gets more sophisticated. Samuel Morton, right? Samuel Morton. Now, these people are all physicians and scientists, okay? So when the world looks at the Negro or the passport bro, they look at the Negro from a medical space and a scientific space. And then they have those debates about you medically and scientifically. So what has happened is people tolerate each other now. But behind closed doors, they open up the books again. These books, Samuel Morton's book is a PDF online that you can find. I'll show it to you. Okay. Samuel Morton is an American physician. Now listen what he says, because he backs up Josiah Not. Remember, Josiah said that the Negro achieves his greatest perfection, physical and moral, and also greatest longevity in a state of slavery. Now, what does Samuel Morton say? The Caucasian, as distinguished by the faculty with which it attains the highest intellectual endowments. He said Native Americans are averse to cultivation and shows and is slow in acquiring knowledge, restless, revengeful, and folly of war, and wholly destitute of maritime adventure, meaning they don't sail. So they have no IQ when it comes to being a captain of a ship, maritime, right? That's what Mr. Morton is saying. He says about Africans that Africans, listen to this, he describes Africans as joyous, flexible, indolent, while the many nations which compose this race present a singular diversity of intellectual character, of which the far extreme is the lowest grade of humanity. The game of life is played above the neck. Above the neck. The passport bros or boys, the imagery is not from above the neck. It has nothing to do with women. It's the optics. It's the, yo, you're already known a certain way, right? I thought y'all followed Kevin Samuels. At least look sophisticated in your movement, because there's something that is baked inside of academia about you anyway. Look at what these people are saying. These books didn't disappear. Samuel Morton was also into phrenology. Here's his book that you can find online, Crania Americana, a comparative view of skulls of various Aboriginal nations of North and South America. This man would collect skulls and create essays about his findings. It does not matter if it was true or not. What matters is this is on the books hundreds of years ago, and it still stands. Ha. You're playing games, and these other people are not playing games. They play games to live forever, and their way to live forever is not necessarily have children. Their way to live forever is ideals. Who has the best ideals? And who's willing to put all of their resources and all of their brute force into backing those ideals? Y'all traveling, so-called looking for wives. Do you know how weak as hell you look? Because the real passport bro applied pressure. These people applied pressure right here. They are creating entire sections in science and in the medical field about you. And you just dance yourself into it over and over and over again. The reason, because you don't understand that this shit is about intellect. It ain't about basketball. It ain't about football. It ain't about who dances the best. It's about who's the smartest. Human beings' way of warfare is mental. It's psychology. The war is in the mind. Who has the ability to think better, to reason better? Look at your conversation. You talking about traveling, looking for women, but the real passport bro took land and the women came with it. What you talking about? That's why you keep talking to the women, because if you talk where your language is supposed to go, man on man, it's man on man until it's not. It's not the women, the women, the women, the women. You look weak as hell talking to other men, complaining to them about women. What do those group of men think? What's stopping them from coming to take everything that you work for? What's stopping them? They have history to prove that they will do it. Your passport movement is about women. Their passport movement is about empire. This is on the books. I'm not reaching. That's what it is. you repeat the real passport boys talking points. You don't even have no talking points of your own. You repeat those guys' talking points. Because when it comes to the real passport boys, people that look like you're a casualty of war. What is we talking about? What are what are we doing? Playing more games? Samuel Morton wasn't playing games with you when he was creating literature like this. When he was getting skulls doing this. What you talking about? The measurement of the skull was to determine the intelligence of the person. You playing games. Talking about you looking for wives. How are you looking for wives? You look for land. Wives come with it. Tuh. If you really want to get women, if you're really looking for wives, go compete with men. Women come with it. Ain't that what history say? It was said a large volume meant a large brain and high intellectual capacity, and a small skull indicated a small brain and decreased intellectual capacity. Where are your books to say that? You would never say something like that. What are we talking about? Patriarchy is dude versus dude. It's not necessary. Oh, I'm the head of my household. That's all y'all want. That's all y'all playing the game for, to be the head of your house. But then the person, a police officer that is not the head of your house, can come take you out the house. Right? And you can't make a phone call that can affect that police officer's life. What are we talking about? Now, I learned something recently that, let me go back to these terms too. Monogenism, polygenism, right? This ideal is about everybody having a common ancestor. This ideal is saying that each human race origins are different. Okay? This is the information that was used in scientific racism to back up slavery, because anytime people try to appeal to the humanity of the slave, other people would come with academia to reduce that narrative or to reduce the person's humanity. Okay? So, I learned something recently on TikTok. I learned the science of tradition. Now, I didn't know or not the science, excuse me, the art of tradition. I didn't know the art of tradition. And now I do. Now, when these passport boys say they're looking for a traditional woman, I have something, a criteria to hold them to, right? Now you have a criteria to hold them to, because what you talk about is the art of tradition, right? The tradition doesn't just go in a relationship. Tradition is a full scale thing, and male and female dynamics are a part of the tradition. So I learned the art of tradition recently, and I wrote them down. Number one is formative narrative. I learned this on Twitter, TikTok. I was blown away, but it makes total sense. So, number one, formative narrative, right? If these men were traditional, when they went to meet these women, the first thing they would want to discuss and talk about and learn is what's this woman's cultural formative narrative? What is their story? Because their behavior is going to be dependent on their formative narrative. That's not what they're talking about with these women, because if it was, they would spit women from Colombia and Brazil and the rest of the world's formative narrative, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they had a father in a home. That's not a formative narrative. Even the father goes by a formative narrative. What is the formative narrative of the women that you say you're interested in? Because you're about tradition. Tradition comes with a formative narrative. What is it? Cat. Not only do they have a formative narrative, you have a formative narrative. And if you were traditional and you were looking for traditional women, you would not be engaged in sex immediately. What you would be discussing is your formative narrative, and she would discuss her formative narratives, and you would see if those are are aligned, even if they're different in different aspects. Do they have a formative narrative that you can take to your tradition and make it better? And do you have a formative narrative that you can take from her to your tradition that make it better? Y'all not looking for traditional women. That's cap. You're looking for sex. Shout out to Pamela. Appreciate you. And if you're looking for sex, then you're not looking for tradition. Because whether we know it or not, men in ancient times didn't sleep around. You had to be a man that was in the what would we call? You would have to be a prince. You would have to be a king, right? The common man did not sleep around. So if you're looking for traditional women, that physical thing that y'all do, that all that touching, all that close body shit, that wouldn't even be happening. So that's cap. Y'all are not tradition looking for tradition because y'all are not traditional. Because if you are traditional, then you would have a formative narrative. That's one. Two, you would have a way to celebrate that narrative. See, this is tradition. When countries meet each other. They bring their national traditions with them, and they share those national traditions with other countries. What is your national, or what is the way that you celebrate your narrative? Dance, music, food, festival, plays. How do you celebrate it? What do you do? Because this is what you would be talking to the woman about, because you say that you're traditional men. See, the only reason this works is because the culture has its brain off. But I have questions, right? And I read and I study and I travel myself, right? And the schools of thought that I come from, we ask questions, right? I don't assume, hey, what do you mean by tradition? If y'all are looking for traditional women, then why is everything so sexual? If y'all are looking for traditional women, how come you have this girl on camera? If y'all are looking for traditional women, where's the men? Right? Traditional men, you didn't have direct access to women like that. You couldn't do that. You couldn't just go to somebody's women like that. You know why? Because patriarchy is man versus man. So it's disrespectful to men to be able to pull up to their women like that, their sisters, cousins, or even women that they're tribally interested in. So, what's your formative narrative? What is the way that you celebrate that narrative? Number 3, what are your governing laws and values? But y'all talk, I'm looking for my queen. I'm looking for my king. I'm a king. Y'all throw these things around, but there's no customs associated with it. Formative narrative, a way to celebrate that narrative. What are the governing laws and values? I know that you're not talking about governing laws and values with these women because you have no governing laws and values in America. You passport bros are not even traveling with an American constitution. So you don't even know the governing laws and values of the country that you're living in. You don't own literature of Alexander Hamilton. You haven't read Thomas Jefferson essays, but you're conservative though. You don't own a copy of the Federalist Papers. You have never been to the monuments in DC. You don't know that in the Lincoln Memorial, on the one of the pictures in the basement, the White House is shaped like a pyramid before it's structured that it is now? You're not passing nothing to these people in other country because you don't know nothing about America. You don't know what the Moors taught, that the Mississippi River is really the Nile River. You don't know about the mounds all along the rivers of the people that was here in America. What are you talking to these foreign people about? Because technically, you're not even American. You know nothing about America. So, what's the formative narratives that you're talking about? Huh? What a way to celebrate that narrative. How? What's that look like? What are the governing laws and values? I'm just asking, because what are you talking about with these women? Now, I know you're not talking about that because you don't know their language, right? So there's no way that you can even exchange your laws and values. See, you talk about that kind of stuff before you get into bed with her, but because y'all said y'all tradition. Y'all said y'all traditional. I call cap. Y'all really not traditional. How y'all traditional and many of y'all mamas was on welfare? How's that possible? How are you traditional? Hmm? How are you traditional? Many of y'all never grew food in America. Many of y'all never built your own homes. in America? Why you lying to the world talking about you looking for a traditional woman when you not traditional in America because you don't even know the formative narrative of America to speak it, and then you have no cultural formative narrative. You don't have a way to celebrate your culture. You go other places to celebrate their formative narrative. What is the governing laws and the values? What's number 4? The way to disseminate the information concerning the governing laws and values. What, hip hop? Do you use hip hop as an instrument to disseminate the laws and the values of the culture that you say you come from? That's cap, right? And that's a bad look because remember, all the scientific racism that's on the books regarding melanated people. So when you go to these places and you cut up, no one's surprised. In fact, it's like, duh. It's like, duh, right? What is the way that you disseminate the information concerning the governing laws and value of the people? Oh, people, excuse me, not culture, right? See, because a traditional man is not just representing himself. See, it's untraditional to say, I'm out for me, and that's it. And I ain't even mad at that. That's untraditional. Traditional men represent a people. Traditional men represent a clan, a tribe. They have a nationality that they are representing. Number 4, what is the way that you disseminate information concerning the governing laws and the values of the people? Huh? Formative narrative, a way to celebrate that narrative, governing laws and values, the way to disseminate the information concerning the governing laws and values. And number 5, a way to practice said governing laws and values of said people. This is how you're not traditional. Now, for those that want to be traditional, here's your standard and the way that you carve out your traditional life. Being a stay-at-home wife don't make you traditional. It just makes you a stay-at-home wife. What's your formative narrative? Taking care of all the bills, that doesn't make you traditional. That just makes you taking care of all the bills. What is the way to celebrate your narrative? What is your governing laws and values? It don't just stop at a relationship. Tradition does not automatically mean man, woman have babies. Y'all have take the word and put it in the projects and put it on welfare like we always do. We take real sophisticated concepts and we butcher it and we put it on Section 8 like we always do. But this shit has meanings. You know why? Because we are on a global stage at this point with the internet. And when you're at a global stage, we're all setting the price for ourselves. You're setting the price for the culture. So how can you ever have something high ticket when look at the optics and look at how everybody shows up? The conversation is on a very low level, but everybody else talking high because everybody else is part of empires, right? And people is trying to rule this shit. The real passport boys was not looking for women, they was looking for gold. And women came with the gold. But stop the cap about y'all looking for traditional women. No, you not, because you wouldn't even be talking to that woman. You would be talking to her father. Y'all believe in patriarchy, right? So how is it patriarchal for you to just step to people's women and no men are around? No brothers are around. What? You can't just be alone with people's women if you want some tradition. The whole family courts with you. What? You're not traditional, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Me either. I'm modern as hell, right? I'm not waiting 90 days to have sex. None of that, right? I'm a thought. I'm trying to whatever. I catch up with my kind. I ain't traditional. Nah, I wait. What? I'll sleep with a woman and be with her from the first time. I don't give a damn. I'm modern. I period. But if you are traditional, there's rules. See, I don't like that setup. So I'm modern, right? What's popping? I'm root chakra poppy. You ain't gotta put a front on for me, miss. I'm a hoe too. What's popping? Bet we can be together too from this. I don't care, right? That's how I'm moving. But if you're traditional, you supposed to think different than me. How are you saying you're traditional and I'm saying I'm modern, but you thoughtin' like me? You ain't traditional, right? Because I let it know up front I'm with the shit. So I'm only gonna attract women that's with the shit. Same. You down with I'm down with? Hell yeah. Psh, my type of girl. But for the traditional men, you ain't supposed to think like me. You supposed to be the opposite of me because you're traditional. You know what I'm saying? You're traditional. So the way you move is different. You're gonna judge a woman wife qualities different than mine, right? You don't like high body counts. I do. Let's go. You want a virgin. I do not. I ain't got that time. I need a thought. That's how I am. I'm modern, right? I ate oodles and noodles, steakums, been to the with the ice cream man. I had pogs and slammers. I was watching Alf and Small Wonder. I'm modern, right? We play tag catch and go get it, right? Buy that radiator outside the crib. Everybody, what? But if y'all are traditional, your behavior should be something total opposite of mine. And I expect your wife criteria to be different, right? Your criteria, she can't be nasty. My criteria, the nasty the better. Let's get married. Straight like that. I ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? We are in the future. Let's get it. Catch up with your kind, right? But for the traditional people, formative narrative, right? Formative narrative. What is your formative narrative, right? Number two, a way to celebrate that narrative. Number three, governing laws and values. Number four, now this is for those that say they're traditional. There's rules. There's rules to it, right? And when you meet different groups of people, you are coming with your tradition and they are coming with their tradition. And together you merge with those people. And now y'all bring your tradition, their tradition, and y'all make a new tradition borrowing from yours and theirs. Right? That is a marriage. That's how it goes. But y'all not traditional. That's cap. The traditional man from y'all POV is a myth. First of all, a traditional man believed in small government. A traditional man does not want the government in their finances, in their business. A traditional man participates in the process, right? He understands the politics of the system, but he's traditional. He still puts his voice in it. A traditional man is aware of the politics that's happening around him. He's involved in there and he wants to have an effect on those politics because that's going to affect everybody's life. So a traditional man is about small government. Do you know why? Because traditional men have manpower. So they would like the government to stay out of their affairs because they believe they will handle it. Traditional men were patriotic. Traditional men are patriots. Traditional men are not rogue. Traditional men are proud of their country. They don't speak down on their country. Y'all are not traditional men. You don't rep your country. You ain't moving around with pro-America hats. You'll wear a Che Guevara shirt before you wear an American shirt. Y'all not traditional. You will side with other countries' politics over your own. You don't believe in the country. You don't believe in the future of the country. You talk down on it. I listen to y'all podcasts. Yeah, this country, this country. What are you doing to help the country? See, that's what a traditional man does, right? You don't love this shit. Where's your pictures with the national monuments in America? Where's your picture at Grand Canyon, at Yosemite National Park? Where's your pictures at in New York with the Statue of Liberty, the Golden Gate Bridge? Send me the link. You ain't really messing with America like that. You ain't traditional. Huh. You ain't been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame. You doing all this in another country. You not traditional. You ain't been all through America and see what America has to offer. See, America's more than the women. Y'all talking about women, women this, women that. If they closed all the national parks, you wouldn't give a damn. You focused on women. You wouldn't care. If foreign countries came in and purchased our highways, you wouldn't care. You ain't American. You talking about women. What about the country? Right? And many of y'all done took on uh conservative views, which is great. Which is great. But all your talking points about women. Oh, the left, the left, the left. Democrats, Democrats. Y'all sound like Candace in there. These ain't your views. You ain't really studying this shit because you don't care about America. Traditional men don't wear earrings. See, if you're non-traditional, that's fine. Traditional men don't wear jewelry. Traditional men have a rough aesthetic to them, right? People that wore jewelry and dress up and glamour, that was Hollywood. There was a separation between Hollywood and the regular society. Traditional men wasn't doing all this to their face and their nails and their feet. None of that. Ain't no jewelry, ain't no earrings, getting your eyebrows done. That's not traditional man shit. It's not. I ain't traditional. I'm going to get my hair cut. I'm laying that do-rag down. And by the end of this live, I'm going to tell you that I got good hair. That's how I am my shit. I'll tell you at the end. I'm just letting you know, right? I ain't traditional. So before I get out of here, best believe I'm going to shine my damn head in the light. Eyebrows popping, right? Because I ain't traditional. I'm modern. You know what I mean? I'm modern. Facials, nails done, feet done, all that stuff. Going to the sauna. What y'all say? What's how you say? GWORZ LZ girls. I'm going to the spa with the girls. Girls. How y'all put the G and the W together like that? That's pretty clever. I still don't get that. But I'm going to get my shit done with the girls. The girlies. Yeah, I'm going with the girls. That's how you gotta do your mouth with the girls, right? I'm going because I ain't traditional, right? Y'all getting facials? Bad, I'm there. Let's do it, right? Because I'm trying to attract. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here mashing for my rations. So if my skin is popping, I might be outside and get chose. I'm trying to get chose. See, I'm modern. I'm modern. I'm modern. I'm trying to get chose. Straight up. Traditional men were very religious. Now, regardless of what you think about Granny and Papa's religion, traditional men were religious, right? Even the secular men were very committed to their philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Traditional men were religious. Y'all not religious? Y'all are not going to DR. Y'all not going to Colombia, and y'all not going to Brazil, right? To have no Bible study. But y'all supposedly Christian men, but y'all leave your religion in America when y'all get on that plane. Then when y'all get back on that plane, you pick your religion back up. That's fake. Why don't you take Jesus everywhere you go, fam? Why you leave your religion in the States? Remember, you're traditional. You traditional. So why does your tradition stay at the airport, right? But then when you come back, you pick it back up, but it don't go there with you, right? Because see, if it went there with you and that's what you believe in, you know you ain't moving right. Based on traditional Christian man standards, and the majority of you are. Now, if you Muslim, you definitely know. So y'all either Christian or you Muslim. It ain't too many niggas that's really, really out here agnostic or atheist. I know that. So you either Christian or you're Muslim. Either one, they're both very strict, right? But if you traditional, fam, then your religion goes with you. It goes with you. You share that with people. You don't hide that. You share that. In fact, the connections that you make around the world are people that share some of your cultural values, right? Or your religious values, right? Now, I know a lot of women in DR and Brazil, many of them are Catholic, right? Still, you still share your traditions with people, but you're not traditional. And traditional men picked women based on their religious values. So question. Feminine, fit, friendly. What religious value is that? What is that got to do with your Bible? Feminine, fit, friendly, right? What does your Bible say about a God-fearing woman? Does what you want in the woman match up with your Bible? Not mine. Your Bible. Are you dating and courting women based on your religious belief? Or do you leave your belief in the crib and you get on the plane and you become Ken Billions? See, I'm the heathen, right? So you mean you become me? But when you on these podcasts, on these panels, you got all the conservatism, you got you religious. But as soon as you book that ticket, something comes over you. You channel Ruth Chakra Poppy, right? You become me, right? You go from Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. You book that ticket to Brazil. You become Ken Billions. Yeah, root chakra poppy. Girls gonna choose. I'm going with the girls. Ooh, I'ma show my hair. Nigga, that's me. What happened to you? Nigga, I just seen you in the choir. You was banging the tambourine. Hard. You know your mama had that Fred Hampton. Your mama had John P. Key, Mississippi Mass. Stop it. You know your granny listened to Rance Allen. What? Your granny listened to Rance Allen. But y'all going over there doing that with these women? What would your granny say? Huh? You knew you woke up in the morning and your peoples had Bobby Jones gospel. Your mama and your aunties used to be questioning Bobby Jones' sexuality. Then when they found out y'all was in the conversation, get out grown folks' business. But y'all don't take none of them traditions on the plane with you, right? You switch up. You not traditional. If you traditional at your mama house, you traditional in Brooklyn or in Brazil. Huh? What? All that Christianity in your home, but people in South America don't know you for that. Now, how's that possible? How make that make sense? You got all the religion in your home, but when you in Brazil and when you in Colombia and when you in DR, none of it goes with you. But you a traditional man, you looking for a traditional wife. You are lying. Just get your shit off. Right? See, if you embrace the modern man shit, guess what? That's all good. I ain't got nothing to say. Because I ain't got nothing to say about the modern dude. I got something to say about the fake traditional dude, right? It's cap, right? Yo, traditional men, whether y'all know it or not, did not sleep around. Y'all have this ideal that men have been behaving like this for a long time. No, they did not. Traditional men didn't sleep around. Body counts was low before. Traditional men went through other men to get to women, right? You just didn't have access to women. There was a courting phase and men were involved. Period. There's a courting phase and men were involved in the process. You're not traditional. Y'all need to tighten up. That's cap. Traditional woman to you is somebody you can say something to and they don't say nothing back. You're not looking for a traditional woman. Traditional women knew how to use a rifle because men were gone for a long time, right? You're not looking for that. If you were looking for traditional women, you would be going to Islamic countries, but the women are covered up and you don't want that because you don't really want to get to know the woman. That's why you're going where you're going, right? The Caribbean is hot. Brazil is hot. The people are spicy. They're very intimate. They're very touchy. If you was looking for traditional women, you would go to Islamic countries where that's already baked in the dynamic. You ain't got to say nothing. Those are Muslim women. But here's the thing. You have to come as a Muslim man. And in the Muslim faith or the Islamic faith, it is very disciplined if you are on your deen like that, standing on your square. You ain't going there for that. And you know it. You don't want no smoke with no Islamic country because you wouldn't even be able to be touching on a woman like that in public. You want to go to a place where the rules are kind of laxed. Talking about you 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 want a non-Western woman. Brazil's the West. The Caribbean is the West. Huh. Interesting. But you travel to these places because you believe in patriarchy. Yeah? Yeah. The father, the ruler of the family. Yeah. That's what you believe, right? You believe in patriarchy. You say that the community here is a matriarchy, right? So the etymology, um, patriarch is the father, right? The progenitor, right? So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Based on history, those classified as black men can never be patriarchs. Based on history. Based on the historical script, there's no such thing as a black male patriarch. It's impossible. So we need to really understand patriarchy because leaving the country going to another man's patriarchy is ill to me, right? But you can't be a patriarch. Let me tell you why. Everybody knows this. This is Magic Johnson, right? So there's a website called Behind the Name where you can look into people's surnames, right? And you can track it and see where it came from, okay? So Johnson means son of John, okay? Son of John, right? Now, its origins looks like British English, Johnson, okay? Now, Magic Johnson is super successful. He's one of America's best businessmen. And his name is his last name, his surname is Johnson. Magic Johnson, as brilliant as he is, wears the name of another man. To be a patriarch, you have to show up in your own name. To be a patriarch, you cannot be in the name of someone else. Even Magic Johnson the Great is in another man's name. Mm. Patriarchy is about men converting other men. To be a patriarch, you have to be able to put another man in your name. That's how I go. When empires clash, the loser loses their entire history and the people are renamed. Even Magic Johnson is son of John. Mm. Hmm. Sean Carter, right? English, right? Now, the interesting thing about Jay-Z's name, Sean Carter, right? Sean Carter's last name, the surname, Carter, right, is someone who operates a cart to transport goods. Now, I thought that was pretty interesting because what's Jay-Z's background? Right? What's Jay-Z's background? Right? And his surname means to operate a cart and transport goods. Now, I thought that was interesting. Carter, right? He transported goods, right? Sean Carter, he was in his name, right? Because Carter moves the cart to transport goods, and that's what he did, right? But even Carter is the name of another man. English. Okay? Can't be a patriarch. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Samuels. Now, another interesting thing, right? So I like to provide what I find. I don't care how it makes me feel. Now, this is very interesting, right? So Samuels, English, French, German, Dutch, Spanish, Portuguese, Polish, Czech, Slovak, Swedish, Norwegian, Danish, Finnish, Jewish, right? And the pronunciation changes depending on who uses it. Now, listen to the meaning of Samuel though. From the Hebrew name Samuel, meaning name of God. Right? Other interpretations have the root being shama, meaning to hear, leading to a meaning of God as heard. Now, I thought that was very interesting, right? Name of God. See, this is not my topic, but nothing is ever what it seems, right? And things mean so much more. Like, there's power in people's names, right? And if this is his real name, right? Samuel means name of God, right? To hear, right? But still, he is in another man's name, right? So the Negro cannot be patriarch because to be a patriarch, you have to be able to take other men and defeat them in a way where you can impose your culture, your name, your ideals on them, so much so that those defeated men begin to see the world through your lens and whatever you tell them. Hmm. So going out the country, you're going to another man's patriarchy, right? Because you have no patriarchy of your own. Because the women that you want to submit to you, they're in another woman's name, right? Because you're in another man's name, right? How could they be your women and they're not even in your name based on your patriarchy? Hmm? Hmm. You thinks about that for a sec. How could these women submit to men that are named by other men? How are you a Williams and you a Williams? How are you a Brown and you are Brown? Right? How are you a Johnson and you are Johnson? Y'all hair different, nose different, all of y'all different. How are you the same name as him? How's that possible? I don't think you would ever have to ask for submission if women seen you compete with other men, and if you win, they go into your name. The women would get in line. Like, that's a flex, right? But when you're doing your passport thing, your thing is, yo, the white man does it too. But the white man does it too. You right. The white man does it too. You're right. But you ain't the white man. See, here's the tough truth. Yes, the white man does everything under the sun. The problem is you ain't him. That's the problem. You ain't the white man. You see that Allegiant Stadium? That's the Raider Stadium in Vegas. You know how wavy that is? That's the white man. right? Understand that that team that plays there, a man is paying those rich people. That's how balling he is. That he can pay rich people salary. You see that stadium to get that built? You know what kind of relationships you have? But the white man do it too. You know who you're comparing yourself to? The thing about the white man, he don't even give a damn about his negative press. See, y'all care about y'all image so much so you don't want to hell be accountable. Yo, it's books written about the white man. It's movies written about the white man. Everybody know what he do, but he don't care. But one thing they do though, they do build things. For sure. They do create shit. Yo, you see that tank right there? A company made that tank. That's the white man. You can't say, but the white man does it too. You can't say that. You see, right under that tank, what you're looking at is one of the most phenomenal engineering feats of all time. That is the Hoover Dam. That's the white man. You see that jet right there? You know how much it costs to build those things? The majority of guys that fly that are white men. Unfortunately, fellas, you can't say, but the white man does it too. You see on the left, you see all these billionaire ballers. You can't say, but the white man does it too. See, if you're going to play the white man does it too game, then you're going to have to put yourself in all arenas, right? When the white man is building stadiums, you don't never say to yourself, man, the white man do that. I want to do that. When the white man is creating tanks and missiles, you ain't saying, man, I want to do that. When they're engineering and creating lakes and rivers, man-made shit, you don't never say, but the white man does it too. I want to do that. When they're creating these weapons of war, these planes, right? You don't never say, but the white man does it too. I want to do that. And when they're getting billions of dollars, you don't never go to Forbes and say, man, I want to get $1 billion because the white man does it too. No, you say the white man does it too when it comes to sex tourism. You say the white man does it too when it comes to committing crimes. That's the only time you pull the card of the white man does it too. You don't never say that for nothing else. Man, shout out to Reginald Lewis. Because Reginald Lewis is one of the few that said, why should white guys have all the fun? And you know what he did? He became one of America's greatest business minds of all time. In 1994, he was part of the Fortune 500's richest people in America. In 94, a black man. So while he was making movies like New Jack City, Reginald Lewis was a real life dude. While they're making all them drug movies, a hustling nigga selling dope and colors and gang banging, Reginald Lewis is doing miracles in corporate America. Ta. Shout out to Shalom. Appreciate your super chat. Body bag Ken, you know what we do. Appreciate you, love. I'm not gonna lie, as a manosphere man can be keep me triggered. I used to believe in submission, patriarchy, and Western women. However, I'm man enough to admit I was wrong and I need to focus on self. Hey fam, let me tell you the beauty about you being wrong. because we all was wrong about something before, right? And we got to be wrong before we could be right. So being wrong is not a bad thing. You feel me? We all got a course correct. We're all educated a certain type of way. We all got views and shit, right? But I just hope as you're turning the corner, I hope that those around you can extend grace, because it takes a lot for a man to admit when he was wrong. So shout out to you. And I hope the people that surround you allow you to change and become who you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? So salute to you. Cause you know how it is. Ain't everybody right. Everybody's a guru. Nobody's wrong. You know? Right? Nobody's wrong. So don't trip, fam. The white man do it too, though. Right? Y'all gotta chill with that. Because the white man does everything. If you go in the Amazon jungle right now, you're going to find a white boy there. You're going to be like, what the hell? And you know what? They have conquered life so much that they have left corporate positions to go practice medicine in the jungles of Africa and South America. If you go on top of Mount Everest, the white man is there. The white man is everywhere. Everywhere, right? Because the white man's building and creativity doesn't just stop at women, right? Come on, man. Look at everything on this. This is white. At this point, it's laughable. You know what I mean? That a large body of men are not even part of the global conversation. That shit is crazy. Like not even taken seriously when it comes to the thinkers and the people applying pressure and people creating systems. That shit is that's wild. It's wild. You know what I mean? And to be connected to those men and saying that I'm the same group as those men. Man. So we are talking about the original passport, bro. The real history. See, because what you're looking at, these ain't the passport, bros. Not the real ones. They are real ones. And when they apply pressure, the pressure is different. The pressure is generational pressure. Let me tell you how I mean by that. The doctrine of discovery provided by law and divine intention, European Christian countries gained power and legal rights over indigenous non-Christian peoples immediately upon their discovery by Europeans. European monarchs developed this principle to benefit their own country. Theological grants were the legal foundation for claims of sovereignty by all colonial powers in America. Christian princes can take land unknown to all Christian peoples. Now, yeah, see, we got to talk about the real passport bros because their movements are different, right? So, the doctrine of discovery. See, this is important because the real passport bros, they have a mission statement and they got an agenda. The Pope of 1455, Pope Nicholas, issued a papal bull, Romanus Pontifex, organizing the Portuguese king to capture, vanquish, and subdue enemies of Christ and to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery. This was the first of the papal bulls of the doctrines of the discovery ordered by the infallible Pope to enslave, spoliate, and subjugate because non-Christians were heathens. Yeah, see, these are the real passport bros. Now, look at the date, 1555. Real important, right? Because right around this time, There's no such thing as black people yet. Hold that thought. I know what you're saying. What? Yeah. See, this is why will make these passport boys, these dudes, so crazy. Right? All right. Doctrine of Discovery, 1452. Invade, search out, capture, vanquish, subdue all Saracens and pagans, whosoever and other enemies of Christ, wheresoever placed, and the kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions, and all movable and immovable goods whatsoever held and possessed by them, to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery, and to apply and appropriate himself and his successors the kingdoms, dukedoms, counties, principalities, dominions, possessions, and goods, and to convert them to his and their use and profit. So when it says Columbus discovered, he did, based on their law, right? And their theology, he did. Doctrine of Discovery. If you're interested, write that down, read it for yourself, look at the date, okay? Now, this is so cold because after you have the Doctrine of Discovery, you have the Treaty of Tordesillas. I swear I practiced this morning. Let's try it again. Tordesillas. Tordesillas. I said it this morning and it sounds fire. I was like, ooh, I'm going to talk that shit to these girls. Baby, Tordesillas. I swear I had it. I was rolling my tongue and everything. I'm like, ooh, fruit chakra Bobby talking that shit. Treaty of Tordesillas. Tordesillas. All right. Anywho, Spain and Portugal were the first countries to make a push for exploration. The Treaty of Tordesillas divided the world between Spain and Portugal to keep the peace. Everything west of the line belonged to Spain, while everything east along the line belonged to Portugal. Yo, do you know what kind of pressure you have to be applying? Look at where they said they belong to. Everything to the west belonged to Spain. In that area right there in the middle, that's Portugal. You know what kind of pressure that is? Do you know there's people all in these areas that have no clue that Spain and Portugal is saying that those territories are mine? You want to talk about patriarchy? Tuh. Appreciate you, Raven. Shout out to Raven with the 4.99. How y'all say my girls, the girlies, my girlies. Shout out to the girlies, right? Maybe y'all quite don't understand. Let me show you something. This is Spain and this is Portugal. Okay? You see how little Portugal is? And that's Spain. So just so we're clear, Spanish comes from Spain. All right? Portugal and Spain are damn near like the same people. This is why Portuguese and Spanish sounds very similar. Now it's one of the romantic languages, but they're the romantic languages, but they sound very similar because they're damn near the same people. Now explain to me how these little countries were able to draw a line through the world like this. Now we're talking patriarchy, right? Because the black American man is saying he's leaving the country, right? He's leaving the country. The black American man was saying he's leaving the country. And he's looking for wives. Right? That's what he said. Right? Patriarchy, right? These are the words that he's using. And tradition, all that shit is important, right? right? Okay. So you see Spain, right? You seen Portugal, right? You see all that, right? Okay. Now you're looking at the Spanish Empire. So, from the doctrine of discovery, this is what happened. Everywhere in red is the Spanish Empire. All of it. The countries that y'all are going to are another man's patriarchy. What you like about those women come from another man. And you go to these Spanish speaking countries and you never thank the man. Because what you like about the women, their traditions and all that, that's from Spain. That's from another man. But you're going for their women. Where do you think language Spanish comes from? Where do you think her name comes from? Do you know there was people in Colombia before the European came there? Do you care? Do you know who those people were? What you like about her aesthetics has everything to do with a conquistador, right? Let me introduce you to some friends because you don't get it, right? You don't understand. Alejandro Diajeda. It is reported that not Alejandro, I'm sorry, Alonso. His name is Alonso Diojeda. He's the first European ever to get to Colombia, right? He founded the city of Santa Cruz. Hmm. This is his route. Yeah, right. This is his route, right? But I want you to understand when these people get here, everything is different after. Now, you see the areas that he went, y'all have nothing on these passport boys. Nothing. Nothing. Because what they did changed the course of history forever. And the fact you don't know this man, but yet everything you like about those women have everything to do with him because his blood runs through a lot of those women's veins. The aesthetic that you like or your preference is based on Alonso. This was Alonso's route. He's reported as the one of the first people in Colombia. You can fact check me if you want. His name is Alonso Diajeda. You spell the last name Ojeda. Fact check me. Who is Alonso Diajeda? The city of Santa Cruz. Huh. Damn, Ken, who's that? I want to make sure I get their name right. The Tirano people? The Tirano people were there when Alonso got there. You do know that, right? So you're not even going there looking for women or people with indigenous features of that land. No, no, no. Everything you like about them women come from this man and men that look like him because you in another man's patriarchy frolicking. Black men down in South America frolicking because that's all y'all doing down there is frolicking. But you ain't even trying to frolic your ass where to where the indigenous people are. See, those people was from this area right here. The conquistador decimated the entire area, changed the look of the people. But you don't care because you looking for women. Now, don't y'all take videos and shit from Cartagena? Don't y'all? He named it. He named Cartagena after a city in Spain. Did you know that? This is Pedro de Heredia. Mm-hmm. You in another man's patriarchy. You don't care. As long as you can experience your desires, you're not tripping. You don't give a damn. This is the man that named the area that you guys love to go to and say, oh, those women are so different. He named this area. And he named it after where he was from. See, that's tradition. See, that's patriarchy. That area wasn't named Cartagena until he came. See, that's what patriarchs do. Patriarchs rename the environment when they win. That's what patriarchs do. This man founded the city of Cartagena after the city where he was from, and that's Cartagena, Spain. Come on, man. That's patriarchy. They got a whole statue. He got a whole statue, man. That's patriarchy. You want to talk about patriarchy and tradition? This what it looks like. You don't want no smoke with these men because they are willing to go to areas you're not willing to go to accomplish the goal. You just playing. The Musika people, you ever heard of them? Do you care? They spoke a Chabacha language. Do you care? Right? These weren't of inferior people. These weren't people without a culture. How come when y'all go to these places, you don't teach us about their indigenous history there? Why y'all don't come back with these stories? Y'all taking pictures with women dancing in bikinis and shit. Where's your history? You ain't talking about nothing. You going over there to take. The Masika Confederation was one of the biggest and organized confederations of tribes on the South America continent. I ain't a passport boy. Why am I showing these people? That's what y'all do. How come y'all not coming back telling us about them? Because you don't care about these people's history and what they've been through. You just there to take. That was their land. You don't care about that. You don't want no problems with the passport bros. Hernando De Soto, you don't want no problems with the passport bros. See, those passport bros, they ain't just go to South America. He was all up in here. Now, let me tell you what patriarchy really looked like, right? Let me tell you how ill it is. How just when you think about it, like, damn, them boys ain't no joke. Hernando de Soto, right? Conquistador, real passport bro, original, right? He was all up in here So much that look at all the places in America named after him. DeSoto, Georgia, DeSoto, Illinois, DeSoto, Iowa, DeSoto, Kansas, DeSoto, Mississippi. By the way, I does this shit. Body Bag Ken, DeSoto, Missouri, DeSoto, Nebraska, DeSoto, Wisconsin, DeSoto, Texas, DeSoto, Alabama, DeSoto County, Florida, DeSoto County, Mississippi, DeSoto Falls, DeSoto National Park, DeSoto, Hernando, Mississippi, Hernando, Florida, Hernando County, Florida, DeSoto Automobile, DeSoto Heritage Festival, DeSoto Central High School, Savannah, South Haven, Mississippi, DeSoto County High School, DeSoto Hilton Hotel, DeSoto High School, DeSoto High School, DeSoto High. That's patriarchy. What is we talking about? Now, some would say, but there's Malcolm X High School, Martin Luther King High School. You are absolutely positively right. Those are civil rights victories, right? There, you can get your name on a building being a victim, and you can get your name, excuse me, on a building being the conqueror. I'll let you decide who's who. All that DeSoto, that's from Hernando. This is before 1619. Remember, this is where he was all through. What we talking about? Right? Patriarchy, this is what it looked like. Black man can't be a patriarch. There's no such thing as black patriarchy. Impossible. Is in another man's name. Impossible. You cannot be in a Spanish man name, an English man name, a French man's name, and claim patriarchy. Your entire identity and culture has to come from your own mind. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot one, please. Brazil. Y'all like to go to Brazil. That's right. Wait. Okay, hold on. Let me go to our trusty map to make sure we remember where Portugal is. Okay. Everybody got it? Now, please explain how that little area wind up controlling and conquering that area. That's a very big area. Now, when y'all are going to Brazil, talking about Brazilian women, you're in another man's patriarchy. You're in Pedro Alvarez Cabral's patriarchy. Pedro Cabral. And let me tell you, pressure. That's pressure. That's pressure. Everything y'all saying about what y'all like about South America, that's great. Just know that what you're experiencing was shaped by other groups of men. What you like about South America comes from the men. This doesn't discount the women, right? But what y'all like is from the men. So, y'all like Brazil. Okay. He's the one that stepped foot over there, right? Now, let me tell you what's messed up. Because you remember how we started our build today, and remember about optics and perception. So, those real passport boys have pretty much decimated a lot of people's history, right? And these guys, when they show us pictures of Colombia, pictures of Brazil, they don't talk about the Muxica people. They don't talk about the Muxica people. Excuse me, that was my phone. They don't talk about them. right? This is the real Brazil. That's the real Brazil. Where's those pictures? All this tradition. What? This the real Brazil. Where's this part? These are Brazilians right here. All that shit these people been through. All of that. And this is the light you shine on their country. You know what they've been through? That's the West too. The Portuguese have had a major effect on the indigenous people there. What the women that y'all like from Brazil, they don't come from these people or they don't look like this. You want women that look like him. And if that's your preference, that's your preference. But this is what Brazil really look like right here. You ain't coming back telling these people's story. And it's interesting because you say that you're descendant of a slave. So, what's up? No compassion, no nothing. You just go there and treat their country like that? Shame on you niggas. But I thought you come from a complicated history too. I thought you have the type of history that you want people to be compassionate of because it's so complex. What you think they've been through? This is the real Brazil passport, dude. You don't give a damn about this Brazil because this is not what you come back showing us. And after all the images I showed you, let me tell you the real definition of patriarchy and tradition. And here's why you can never say in your life, but the white man does it too. How you gonna stick this image? How you gonna put your God, your deity, right smack dab in these people's face? What? Huh. That's patriarchy. Did it look like those people that I just showed you? Do you think they knew what this was? See, when you win the war, you get to put other people in your name. That's patriarchy. Y'all in another man's patriarchy, and you don't give a damn about what has happened to the people because you know what? You just there to take like the original passport, bro. That's what y'all got in common. Y'all some takers. But I will say, that other passport, bro, he does take. He does take. And he puts you in debt and whatever. But he does build. Right? That's patriarchy passport, bro. Y'all looking for women. These other guys get the land and the women come with it. And then they take your sons and re-educate your sons. They change the name to your sons into Hector and Pierre and Juan and Enrique, right? And Jorge and more, and they tell their daughters that they're Maria, right? And by two generations, your memory that exists it's like it never happened because you are erased from history. And that's what patriarchs do. Patriarchy is about man versus man. It's not about man versus women. Women come with the shit. Whoever the winner, whoever whatever man is the winner, he gets the women. That's how it is. You want the women, you want the women to respect you. You saying the American women, this, that, and the third. Find some men to compete with and watch every single thing you think about women change because patriarchy is for men by men. Whatever you don't like about the dating market, men created it. Whatever you don't like about women, men did it. Now what? What you gonna do? Men did it. White ones. White. The white man. He did it. Now what? No smoke. Go podcast. Did y'all have fun? Look, passport dudes, I want y'all to travel. I want you to enjoy yourself. Go where you celebrate it, right? Have a good time, right? I don't have no beef with you, right? I'm just Ken Billions, right? I'm just a guy with a perspective. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean you no harm. I'm not telling you what's best for you or whatever, but there is a narrative about you and people are watching, right? You don't have to listen to me. It's cool. I'm just a nigga with waves.
The worst time in my life was when my mama was laid up in the hospital dying. I just watched her decay. It was crazy. And I was looking out the window and I seen planes in the sky. People was traveling. It was cars on the highway. People was traveling. People was on their phone, just doing human things, The worst period of my life, the world was moving. It didn't stop for your boy at all. She ended up dying and I was sitting right next to her. I seen the life leave my mama. The life leave my mama. I can't unsee that. Man, I ain't got no fear. What could you do to me? You think I care what you think? If I could see that, you think I care what you think? That's why I ain't got no problem telling you to pay like you weigh. Sock it to my pocket. I'm charging for my pain. You ain't gonna sit up here and take my game from my pain and run off and break bread with somebody else. Nah, you break bread with me. Respect the game. I ain't got no fear, so I don't care what you think. It's time for that 20 piece. This that $20 call to action, man. Pay like you weigh. I'm mashing for my rap.